This is Late Night Ali Talks TV. I'm Late Night Ali, and I talk reality TV dating shows such as Ready to Love, Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, just to name a few. So, if you do enjoy that type of content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on when I upload a new video. Now, baby, let's get into it. Ready to Love, Season 9, Fort Worth, Episode 4. So much happened. I thought this was a really good episode. We finally got all of the really bad dates out of the way in the first three episodes, and now we're starting to see people connect. And I like this episode, so let's get into it. So the ladies meet with Tommy in the women's lounge, and they are told that it is their week for eliminations. They have the control. Finally, again, the women are in control because we know that some of these men need to go. However, Tommy let the women know that because they technically missed out on a man because Glenn did not show up to the first mixer, they have decided to bring in someone new, a curveball. So they decided to bring in Justin. Justin is a 34-year-old physical education teacher, and he is the eye candy that we have been missing this entire season. He is hands down one of the best looking men I've probably seen in the past two seasons on this show. I think he's really handsome. He has like a baby face, and he reminds me of my high school crush. That's neither here nor there. I just think Justin is fine, and I like what I see, and I'm like, finally, you guys found a good looking guy here in Fort Worth. So Justin seems like a nice guy. The ladies seem to be pleased and excited to, start to get to know him. And he goes on his first date with Rashina. And him and Rashina do kick it off pretty well. They go on a date with their dogs to a dog park, which is super duper cute to me. Um, I think that's so cool because if you do meet someone and you do get serious and you do want to introduce your dogs, that can be rough. So I thought that was cute. I love dogs. And they did seem to connect because Rashina, let him know right away that she has, kids. And he said that he was fine with that. He didn't have a problem with that. And he also said that he was okay with not having any additional kids. So there is no expectation of her having to have children, additional children. So I think that she seemed to really like that. And, we have a good connection here with these two. So, good for them. Justin already coming in hot and making a connection his first day on the show. So, next we have another date which I thought was weird, but it was Alexis taking the guys to play basketball and her being the referee. Now, that was cool because we do know that she is a referee as well, so she's in her element. But I thought it was weird because why have three guys and one girl? So she invited Rashina, William, Will, and Lamar. And what a combination that was because Lamar and Will. Okay, but why invite three men and one woman? Why not invite two women and two men? But hey, we're going to find out a little bit later. I'll discuss it a little bit later. This might be a long review, but strap in and hold on tight, baby, for this ride. Okay, so let's get into it further with this date. Surprisingly, William played really well. Surprisingly, William played very well. He hit like a couple three pointers. I mean, okay, William, that that was shocking, but it's nice to see a guy who can play sports. We still don't know anything about Lamar other than he's a DJ and a coach. We don't know what he's a coach of, but we do know that he is not a coach of basketball because he was not good. Uh, um, hmm, yeah, I don't know. That was surprising. Um, Will, he was just there. Then Will, Lamar, and Rashina sit down to talk. And of course, Well, Will actually said something positive about, what he was looking for. I believe he said he wanted a woman that was like, you know, godly or something like that, I think. So that was surprising. But of course, Lamar took it back to sex. And, you know, and then they asked her, who do you want? Which one of us do you want? And Rashina said, none of you. And, she said it in a joking and a playful manner, but she did reveal in her confessional that that is, what she meant. Pretty much, she really wasn't feeling either of them. However, Alexis and William do have a really good conversation. And that was nice to see because William, he kind of scared Alexis away a bit on day one, the first mixer, because he did state that he had been married twice and had 3 kids. That's a lot for someone who is 30 years old and has no kids, like Alexis. So, yeah, they had a really good conversation, and she seems to appreciate him, and she, pretty much thanked him for his honesty and being open. So, that was good to see that they did have the opportunity to kind of clear up any negative um, date that they had before, negative, and it wasn't like a bad interaction, but she just really wasn't feeling him. So she seems to like him now. So in my opinion, William is the MVP of the episode. He did, I think, a really good job, and he is, one of the favorites now amongst the men because he does seem to genuinely be looking for love. So I'm not gonna go into all of the dates because it's a lot to keep up with, but I do know that a few people did go over to Chaz's house. Chaz invited, of course, Vanessa because him and her really hit it off. And I believe it was either Rashina or Patrice who invited Justin. Now, Chaz is just now meeting Justin because, of course, Justin's new to the process. And Chaz threw some shade at Justin, and it was like, dude, you don't have to do that just because he's, younger than you, and you don't got to do all that, man. You got a strong connection with Vanessa, so just, you don't have to worry about that. But I did, catch that shade. Um, but him and Vanessa do stay after everyone else leaves, and they tend to, have, continue to build on their connection. So that's really nice to see, wondering, okay, they might be, a really good fit for each other. So in the middle of the episode, we see Leyland talk to Tommy, and you already know that. I mean, my first thought was, okay, she's gonna leave the show, because that's usually what it is when people want to sit down and have a one-on-one talk with Tommy. So she does say that she has a lot going on. She has some type of personal issues with family right now, and that is taking up some time for her. So Tommy says, okay, you know what? Why don't you take off this week and we'll reconvene? And, hopefully that would be the thing that gives her the time that she needs. However, she does come back during the women's lounge, and she does let them know that she will be ending her journey with Ready to Love and ending the process because of her family issues. So unfortunately, Leyland did leave. Now, I'm not surprised because I did think it was weird that we weren't seeing a lot of Leyland. We saw that, the guys did like her, but the fact that she was leaving, I think that's why production did not show us a lot of her in the first, the second and the third episode that she was in. We didn't really see her go on any dates in episode 3, but we did hear the guys say that they liked her. But I think that the show, for the purpose of time, really didn't show her going on any dates because they knew that she would be leaving. So Leyland did go ahead and dismiss herself. Something I do want to talk about is the fact that Koshia And I have to apologize because I think in my previous videos I was referring to her as Koisha, but Koshia, because she does let us know how to pronounce her name. And we'll get into that a bit later. But Koshia has a conversation with Alonzo, and they do make amends. So that was really surprising, but I love to see that. You know, they had a really heated moment, and it was nice that he was able to, apologize. But of course, he knows that as one of the guys, he is in jeopardy of going home. So I think that he was like, you know what, I need to save myself and make things right with her. But either way, she was very gracious and she chose to forgive him. Will they probably continue going on additional dates and getting to know each other? Probably not. No, there's no need for that. But there's no bad blood. And that's the most important part, that they can actually coexist and, you know, at least be cool with each other. So that's good. I did think that was really big of her because I don't think I would have. I don't think I could have personally, just forgiven him that quickly because we're still trying to figure out if he wasn't talking about sex, what was he talking about when he said choked respect. Anyway, I digress. Shout out to Koshia. That was very mature of her. I don't think there was any additional dates that I wanted to point out. If I do think of anything, I guess I'll have to come on back. Let's get into what happened at the Women's Lounge. Okay, so at the Women's Lounge, Tommy tells the women, of course, what happens here stays here. And he asks the women who they're feeling. And all of the women, of course, they're starting to form different connections. Oh, wait a minute. Maya. This episode was the Maya show. I'm sorry, guys. Rewind. Let me go back. How could I forget? This episode, I thought, was very focused on Maya. She went on, I believe, was it 2 dates that she went on? And she did a photo shoot. And I was surprised that she was selling waist trainers. I didn't really think that people were still selling those. But hey, to each his own. But she has a clothing business, and she also sells waist trainers. So she was doing a photo shoot for that. So she was wearing, a cute set and a waist trainer, and the body was bodying. And of course, Lamar, uh, he had a really good time. And of course, the conversations, from him turned sexual, and Maya was not feeling it. You could tell by the look on her face that she wasn't feeling him. And I mean, at this point, Lamar is striking out with all of the women. Maya, I believe, was on a date with someone else. But again, I can't remember each and every date. It's a lot. But in the women's lounge, the women are asked to tell Tommy who they are into, who they like. And a lot of the women, they had, I think, varying answers, but they were feeling some of the men, and it was really nice to hear because, again, I feel like this particular episode went a lot better. But when it came to the men, it was quite obvious that all of the women have had negative experiences with Lamar. And a couple of the women, they did mention Will's name. Well, and also I completely forgot Mika and Jonathan. Yes. And that was the other person who Maya went on the date with as well. So it was it was Lamar and Maya. They had a really great connection. They seemed to really hit it off. And then you have Mika, who was talking to Jonathan, and she pretty much called him out for not letting her know that the mother of his child was his wife. Well, we still haven't really clarified that, but he has a child with someone, and he also was married before. So we're just going to assume that the mother of his child was also his wife, and he did not clarify when him and Mika were having a conversation in episode 3. He didn't clarify that that was his wife and not just his baby mama. There's a difference. And, why not say that? And she calls him out, and pretty much I agree with her. It's a lie by omission. Now, it does seem as though she is the one who says baby mama, but he could have corrected her. I know people are going to say, well, she's the one who said baby mama. Yeah, but he could have corrected her. He could say, well, that is my ex-wife. That is the mother of my child. You know, baby mama tends to have a negative connotation to it. I wanted to be clear that we were married and we did get a divorce. Now, if this was his first time dating in 2 years, he could very much be trying to compare the other women to his ex. And we saw in the previous 2 episodes how quick he was to dismiss women that he didn't like. So, yeah. But anyway, Mika had a good point. If you are somebody who is lying, and well, not necessarily lying, but you don't correct people when they say something, like, to me, it's a little sneaky. And he tried to, weasel his way around it, but it was like, him pretty much saying, well, technically I didn't say that. So, well, yeah, but you didn't correct it. So it's kind of giving, he's one of those guys that will, you know, try to run game on you. And if you don't ask a particular question in a certain way, then they will lead you to believe something else. So, yeah, not feeling Jonathan, and Mika wasn't either. And she let it be known in the women's lounge. And I believe Alexis, you know, had a good date with Jonathan before, so she didn't like that. And also, Koshia discusses how she had negative interaction with Will. And I believe it was either Rashina, I think it was Rashina who pointed out that Will made a comment to her about he would be sleeping on the floor. And I thought that was wild. So the women are pretty much talking about Will. Now, if you don't remember, Will was the one who was talking to Koshia, and she told him that when she was married to her husband, she found out that he had 4 kids. And Will said, well, immediately, well, the D must have been really good. And that was just so inappropriate to say, because that would not have been my first thought. My first thought would have been like, wow, I cannot believe he lied. How did you find out? Because it's very easy for men to pick up and abandon their families. How many people do we know, especially unfortunately in the Black community, how many men do we know, how many people do we know that have no communication with their fathers? How many? A lot. So it's not, completely uncommon for a man to go and live his life, find somebody new, and not have anything to do with his children. So I thought that comment was really asinine and just, anyway. So Koshia has not forgotten, honey, and she's talking about it in the women's lounge, and she also talks about Jonathan. Was it Jonathan? No, I'm sorry, it was Will. And Will has a connection with Alexis. So Alexis, has to give her piece, and she's trying to defend Will. And her and Koshia get into an argument because, according to Koshia, Alexis, I want to say April, Alexis is going back to Will and telling Will what the women have said about him. And that's not cool because it's just showing that she's not a girl's girl. And yeah, you may have a connection with this guy, but these women here are all looking for love. All the guys are fair game. So if multiple women are saying negative things about him, I ain't gonna be the one to be like, well, I don't have that experience, so that's y'all. I'm going to take heed to what these women are saying because this isn't, like, everyone is fair game. So they don't have a reason to lie. Now, if you say, hey, I didn't rock with him because I don't like that he, wants kids or doesn't want kids. Like, if he wants kids or doesn't want kids, that's a reason to be like, okay, well, you know what? But if people are saying he says inappropriate things similar to Lamar, well, then, whoa, I'm going to step back. But Alexis took that to say, oh, well, he knows who to play with. Those women didn't necessarily give those vibes, I don't think. I mean, when him and Koshia was talking about her ex, that wasn't anything crazy. And he still said, oh, the D must have been so good. You were demonetized or whatever he said. Girl, you're not being a girl's girl. And it seems like you are going back and you're talking to Will and telling him what's being said, probably telling him who's saying it, causing contention. It was too much. So of course, Alexis and Koshia get into it, and Koshia, she does body shame Alexis by saying, well, you're built like a 12-year-old boy, and that's of course not nice. Um, and she pretty much, threatens to put hands on her, but she gets up crying and walks away because you can tell that she, doesn't want to go there. For real, for real. Like, she doesn't want to go there. She doesn't want that side of her to come out. But it did. And we do see Mika go and comfort her and, help her out because I believe that her and Mika, they kind of have similar experiences. But, yeah. Now, they were able to reconvene, and it's pretty obvious that they're going to choose either Lamar or Will. So, this was interesting. We see Koshia take Lamar. Koshia is the one to discuss with Lamar what's going on in regards to whether he is ready to love or not. And he knows he's in a bit of trouble. She speaks to him, and he's starting to get a little rude. And she lets him know, like, some of the women think that you are speaking too much about sex. You're getting a little bit too sexual too early. And he's just like, we're grown. So what? That's what we're going to eventually do. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever he says. It's just, of course, him being him. No accountability. No social awareness. Him thinking that he does nothing wrong. And she pretty much tells him, you're not ready to love. And she tries to continue. And he was like, why are you talking like that? And you can tell he's trying to get a moment. He's trying to antagonize her. He's trying to do to her what he did to April last episode. And, Koshia handles it like a champ. And she gets up and leaves. And she takes her flowers. And I thought it was weird because Koshia was able to control her composure, I think, with the guys, but not so much with Alexis. But hey, we got what we want. Lamar's gone. However, this is where Alexis, I think, is going to lose a lot of the female audience and even some of the men I think are going to see. Like, you going back and telling William these things on why some of the women don't like him and what was discussed in the women's lounge. We see her going into detail saying, someone said the thing about you not sleeping on a bed. And he said, well, that's a lie. Well, why would this woman lie on you like that? And why would she use such a specific lie? Because she talked about, she got pretty specific. And again, I don't think when people lie, they make up those types of details. She doesn't have a reason to lie. But anyway, of course, he's like, oh no, that's not true. That would never happen. But he goes into this mode of like, first of all, he had a really ugly look on his face. Like he was making a real ugly face. But I guess, he's hearing bad news. He's hearing that he's in the bottom and women don't like him. So he pretty much is like, war. It's game time. I'm going to war. I'm not going to forget this. And I think he's really going to try to find out who said what. And he's going to use that in the next episode to try and get rid of a woman next week. So Alexis, not feeling that she did that, like not feeling her for doing all that. She seems to kind of be, girl, you a referee too? Girl, So, yeah, I mean, it looks like he's going to be going for blood next week. And, yeah, we'll see. Now, we do see the previews for next week. Jonathan is, like, grinding on... No, he has Alexis on top of him. And she's like, no, doesn't seem to like it. And now I do think this would be interesting because if she was truly uncomfortable and this changes her view of him, she and Jonathan, she's the only one that he's really connecting with. So it'll be interesting to see if she decides that she doesn't like him anymore. But I think this season it's gonna get a little spicy. So yeah, a lot happened this episode. Lamar finally went home. He got what he deserved, and he did not take it well, of course. And last week he sent somebody home, so sayonara, sir. And we're gonna see how things play out with Will and Alexis and Koshia, because it looks like things are going to get pretty ugly. Koshia gets into an argument with someone as well. And I'm just thinking, I don't really want her to go home, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does end up going home next week. Put your comments down below. I am curious to know if you are Team Koshia or Team Alexis. I'm personally Team Koshia. Let me know, do you feel like Alexis was in the right for possibly feeding Will information about what the women are saying? I mean, we've seen her do it in the sit down that she had with him. So now I know that they normally do talk about what was said, but I feel like she could have said it in a different way. I mean, yeah, I don't know. To me, she wasn't being a girl's girl. And I think when women are saying that a man is coming on a little bit too strong or being inappropriate with them or saying inappropriate things, you can't say, well, he know who to play with. Like, no, you don't want to be with a guy who says that at all to women. If that's like an HR issue. You don't want to be with somebody who talks like that. Next thing you know, he loses his job because he's talking to the women at work like that. Like, that's not cool. Yeah, so let me know, how do you feel? Are you Team Koshia or are you Team Alexis? Comment down below, hashtag Team Koshia or Team Alexis. Let me know your thoughts on the episode. Let me know if I missed something. And just overall, how are you feeling about this episode? How are you feeling about the season? because I'm excited. I think it's going to pick up and get better. Well, that was my review of episode 4. This is Leighton Ali Talks TV. I'm Leighton Ali and I'm signing out.